Hello everybody, welcome back to Tpull's Corner. Travis here with some Vampire Tribal, and one very strange human samurai right in the midst of all the vampires. So we will unpack that after this round. I've got 4 wedding invitations in here, so lots of chances to give my vampires lifelink. If I can let them survive long enough to attack. Is this a mirror match already? This is my first match with this deck today. And they already gave me both copies of the one human samurai in the entire deck. It's going to be one of those type of things, is it? Let's see. I could put down one of those now. This is where we see if they have counter spells. And they do. And that is a nice play. This is like their ideal setup, isn't it? It just doesn't get better than that. If all of their deck is filled with convoke spells, they can cast basically anything they want now. Including if they have more artistic refusals. 6 mana spell. Here's just drawing cards. Still hitting their land drop. Not that they need land anymore. And even creating even more goblins. Okay. What else can you stoke the flames? Alright, they're using almost everything they got, but they can basically kill me in 2 turns, yeah? Look at that. Arena just gives them all the land that they need, just enough to tap out and empty their hand of everything by turn 5. And I got 3 wedding invitations in a row. Yeah. There's no way they can just bum rush me 2 turns. There's nothing for me to do here. They're just deciding what to use their Field of Ruin on. They had a couple of lands that turn into creature choices there. I guess we'll use a swamp. I don't think it matters. We're just waiting for them to attack. I'm not sure why they hold back the 3/3. I guess they just don't need to, right? Okay, yeah. So you just no way to do anything. This happens a lot when I make a new deck. Arena says, no. You don't get to do anything that you want. I mean, within just a couple turns, they're managing to cast a 6 mana counterspell and get down an entire army. All right. Well, it's true we don't have a lot of removal in here, so you know maybe that's my fault. But what we're doing is Tribe of Fangs. It's a vampire tribal deck, and I was trying to look at some of the newer expansions and fit a lot of those vampires in, but they're so keyed into their theme, their environment, like Murders at Karlov Manor or Outlaws of Thunder Junction. I didn't find a lot that was useful. Like, I found some vampires, and it's like, okay, I kind of need to build a deck around you as a single vampire and about what your abilities are, not just throw you into a deck because you're a vampire. So these are the ones that I ended up with. I actually did burn one mythic rare to get a copy of Olivia Crimson Bride because I never did get her. So 3/4 flying vampire noble with haste. Whenever she attacks, you return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. And it gains this when you don't control a legendary vampire. Exile this creature. So if they can instant remove Olivia, then that creature goes away as well. But oftentimes this card in and of itself, played at the right time, can be a game winner, and she costs 6, so she's not cheap. So usually you have a lot of opportunities to fill up your graveyard with something good to bring back. Along with the Bride, we have Olivia's Attendants. 6/6 with Menace. Whenever they deal damage, you create that many blood tokens. And as a mana sink for 3 mana, you can have her deal 1 damage to any target. Down on the lower side, we've got one Gift of Fangs to give +2/+2 to our vampires, or as removal to give a creature that's not a vampire a -2/-2. One of those Voldaren Epicures that the opponent had just now. One of the Amalia Benavides Aguirre, which is a 2/2 vampire scout with a ward that pays 3 life. Whenever you gain life, she explores. If you get her power to exactly 20, you destroy all other creatures on the board. An oldie but a goodie, Blood Tithe Harvester. Got 4 copies of that in there, and 4 of the Vampire Socialites from Innistrad. 4 of the Wedding Invitations, so that we can let creatures attack without being blocked. And since I got mostly vampires, it's all lifelink. 1 of the Welcoming Vampires, so if power 2 or less enters the battlefield under my control, we get to draw a card. So we got, here's Vampire Socialites, the Volden Epicurus, that type of thing. Along with Preacher of the Schism is also 2 or less. Death Touch. This is from, let's see, Ixalan, right? Yeah, so this is one of the newer ones. This one's pretty popular. I've seen a lot of Preacher of the Schism ever since this card came out. So 2/4 with Death Touch, and you get different effects depending on whether you have the most life, the least life, whatever. 1 removal with Hero's Downfall. 1 Markov Retribution. This is just kind of a fun card. I never see it used that much. Creatures you control get +1 until end of turn, or target vampire you control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. Vampire's Vengeance deals 2 damage to each non-vampire creature, so we can get rid of the little ones. That would have been the perfect card to come up, but I do only have 1 copy of it, so the odds were low. I also burned a wild card to make this one because I didn't have one of this. Dominating Vampire, 3/3. I haven't seen her used a lot. But I think I've seen a lot of people talking about her back when she first came out. When it enters the battlefield, you gain control of target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of vampires you control until end of turn. And so I think it's probably better in a sacrifice shell, which I don't necessarily have here. But yet another one I didn't have, one of the few I didn't have from Crimson Vow expansions. Markup Purifier, 2/3 with lifelink. If you gain life, then at the beginning of your end step, you can pay 2 if you do draw a card. So another kind of thing that's good to have extra lands to pay for that. 1 Ruthless Lawbreaker. So we did include 1 from Thunder Junction, Vampire Assassin. You can sacrifice another creature and destroy target non-land permanent. And Sanguine Savior, flying in lifelink with Disguise. If you turn them face up, another creature gets lifelink. So I do have a number of different possible lifelink cards in this deck. Here's the Human Samurai. Ishin 2 Heavens is 1. Legendary Samurai. If a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So you can only imagine if we've got a couple of creatures in the graveyard, and Ishin's already on the field, and we cast Olivia, we can bring in 2 extra attackers, not just 1. That type of shenanigans is what I'm trying to do. 1 Blood Vial Purveyor, 5/6 with flying and trample, and you give your opponent a blood token whenever they cast a spell. I'm sorry, you don't really give it to them, they create it somehow. But then when the Blood Vial Purveyor attacks, it gets +1 for every blood token the defending player controls. So, kind of, we gave you a little something, but it's going to burn you. Edgar Charmed Groom, it's hard to leave him out. 4/4 Noble transforms into the Coffin and then comes back again. And Vito Fanatic of Aclazotz, Legendary Vampire Demon. I think I only have 1 copy of this one. But I might try and build a deck around him because I did already manage him playtesting with this deck to get it to sacrifice 3 times. So whenever you sacrifice a permanent, you gain 2 life. If it's the second time in the same turn that you sacrificed a permanent, the opponent loses 2 life, and if you do it 3 times in a row in the same turn, you get a 4/3 white and black vampire demon creature token with flying. Now I think by the time I got that done, I was basically winning, and I think the opponent scooped if I remember correctly. So by the time you manage to set everything up, it may be a moot point. But I was surprised at how easy this can be, especially when I didn't necessarily design the deck around him. So kind of interesting. But you know, we still got overlap with the blood tokens, which make for very nice things to sacrifice. Yeah, and also I had 4 wedding invitations already. Those can be part of the sacrifice, so it works out kind of nice. And of course, you can sacrifice the Blood Tithe Harvester. So it turns out we do have a lot of fodder that we can, if we time it correctly, we could get 3 hits off of Veto. Another source of life gain here, Wisp Drinker Vampire, 2/4 with flying. When another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then for 7, including 1 white and 1 black mana, creatures you control with power 2 or less gain Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. If you have 7 mana open and you don't spend it, sometimes your opponent might forget about this extra ability because it is so expensive. It's not really used a lot. But I have managed in other decks to, you know, defend with a 1/1 chump blocker and suddenly give it Death Touch, and the opponent forgot that the Wisp-Drinker Vampire was able to do that. So could be a little bit of a sleeper hit at the right time and place. I did include 1 Drana and Linvala, Flying, Vigilance. Activated abilities of creatures your opponents control can be activated, but we get all of their activated abilities. And we can spend mana, or mana of any color, to activate those abilities. So we're self-equipped there. And then Anya, Maid of Dishonor, 4/5 Legendary Vampire. Whenever the Maid of Dishonor and or one or more vampires enter the battlefield, you create a blood token. Only triggers once each turn. And then you can sacrifice another creature or blood token. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This can be an alternate win condition all by itself if you just have enough creatures and or blood tokens in the field and you just have enough mana, have enough lands later on in the game. 1 board wipe with Gix's Command and 1 Sengir Connoisseur, 3/3 flyer. Whenever 1 or more creatures die, put a counter on the Sengir Connoisseur. It only triggers once each turn though. Bummer. Alright, we do have 2 Restless Bivouacs to turn them into Oxes. And we've got a Restless Vent that we can turn into an insect creature with Menace. And we have a Restless Fortress that we can turn to a white and black Nightmare creature. Still a land. And so it's been a long time since I did a tribal deck. We invite you to like and subscribe before I forget to say that. We have had a new subscriber since we last played a video, since we last posted. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for signing up. And our opponent is simply Mark. And we don't get a chance to put a mark on him. I say he saw my screen name and ran cowering in fear. Usually I at least play a mill card on them or play a discard on the first turn or something before they scoop like that. If it's not getting any land, you do have a chance to mulligan first. It didn't even look like they took time to mulligan. So my theory is they ran away in fear. Wedding invitations, again, that's not necessarily the best thing to have multiple copies in your hand at the very beginning, but if we do have time to set it up, it could be okay. And we have to wait for my pet to be assembled before we can acknowledge they're there. But they're there! Okay. If they have an early threat, we can just get rid of it with Gift of Fangs. And with no threat, we can just throw down the invitations to start with. That's a good hit. We can get rid of the Merrick's early. It's wonderful. Let's try the Welcoming Vampire. It's kind of greedy, right? If they do instant removal, we'll regret it. But we can get a card draw when we bring down Purifier next. And they're just into their own thing, not what we're doing, which is good. One with the multiverse, so they're going to try and bring that back onto the playing field. Get another card draw. Hit them for 2. Let's see. How long do we have until they can bring this back? If Arena's going to give them every single land drop and they're going to get these treasures, it won't take long. What other massively overpriced card do you throw? They threw away a land already. Were you given that many lands? Okay, we have our board wipe already, which is good. And we can put this out of range of one of the removal spells. We attack now, deal 6, and we can spend 2 to draw a card. Auto pay. Bingo. So we're hitting our land drops every turn at least. Atraxa! Of course. Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course. What do we got? What are our choices? And, ooh, they're doing this thing. Conspiracy Unraveler and Breach the Multiverse. We got some Jaces here. Another Jace. So maybe they just want to mill us out. So many lovely things they can do. Well, I think we're doing this. 2 counters on something. You sacrifice highest. Okay, we got him down to 4 life. What can you do with what you got left? You can't do a Breach the Multiverse. And if you bring down Jace, you can only -3 one of these. we got them beat. They couldn't get it done in time. Alright, so we finally got just enough. The wedding invitations didn't really come into play. And you saw we'd already drawn the 3rd one. So we got a lot of sort of useless cards in our hand and still managed to get this done just 1 turn before they were really going to mess us up. They were about 1 turn away from either milling out our entire deck or just completely ruining our day. Not bad for getting dealt 3 wedding invitations. It's also good that I went as aggressive as I could as far as getting creatures down rather than being greedy and doing more setup early on just because it looked like I had time. Okay, the Restless Fortress is tapped, so we'll play that first. Guild Build 1 is our opponent. Hello! We lost our first one horribly. We won the next one without even trying. And we won the 3rd one in the nick of time by the skin of our teeth. Let's see what happens now. So I know that I said at the beginning that I couldn't really find a whole lot. Let's see, I think we put down Harvester first. We couldn't find a whole lot of stuff in the later expansions. I did sort of find one good one. You know, I found this one from Markov Manor. I found another one from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It wasn't like I came out completely empty looking at those. Dominating Vampire, I guess we want to keep, so we save. We put down the Savior face down, and we have a chance to give lifelink to another creature if it stays. It's just going to be a simple poison deck. Thran the Executioner. Okay. Huh. Huh. If I do that, I can't get lifelink. It's alright. Six points of damage seems fair. They're playing with 3 colors, so am I. We've each got the same 3 colors, and everybody's got their own 3 colors out. If they want to trade me with Vran, I will. I don't have a way to blink the dominating vampire. I don't know why. They just doing that to trigger, right? Lose life and gain life. Works for them. Okay. I guess we're putting these down. Thank you. Now I can get lifelink too. Yeah, let's see. How do I want to do this? Do you trade anything? Yes. Okay, so we turn you face up. Give a creature lifelink. I like that because now they can't gain life. And we still have a lifelinker that they can't block. So they need something better than a 3/3 to put a creature down, or they need to start taking stuff off my board. If I could get one more land. If I don't get the land, do I just attack with Restless Fortress? That seems like it might be the easiest way. Notice the arena gave me the 2 most expensive cards in my deck already. That's usually a sign that they're not going to give me another land, or that they want me to win, and they're definitely going to give me another land. Is it another mirror match? There's Veto. That's the card in my deck. No blocks. You can do the poison. You don't have a sacrifice trigger anywhere. Okay, they did not give me land. A 5/5. What if I put down a 5/6? What if I sacrifice this, target my dominating vampire, and swing in for 3? That feels good. You're down to 2. You don't have lifelink, and I got somebody that can beat you. Blood token. 3/3. They might try and bum rush me with these, but I'm just going to let them through because I don't want them to gain life. Also, this has trample. Okay, so he gains 2 life from the sacrifice of the blood token. So that backfired on me. Can you do anything with what you got? I'm going to let those pass. Okay, we're set. I think we're done. Because we bring down Wedding Invitation. Artifacts do not have Summoning Sickness. Play land just because we can. And I'm going to give this one so it can't be blocked. And it's going to attack by its lonesome. And that's the power of Wedding Invitation. Works like a charm. It's not a charm, it's an artifact. Ooh, Lightning Helix, good. I think I needed that to make a 4th copy. Oh, I just got a good idea for a Lightning Helix center deck. Oh, it's going to be good. Okay, we're against Pop Doog. That's better than being against Poop Dog or Dog Poop, right? Pop Doog. Standard deck size. Tap land goes down first. We don't have the 3 colors we want yet. So we're just going to put down the Wedding Invitation. That's helpful. But not enough to get us our 3 colors, so we'll probably still put down... Remind me what this does. Sharp-Eyed Rookie. Power's greater than his power. Put a 1 and Investigate. Okay. Okay, I like Preacher of the Schism. Getting down a 2/4 on turn 3 with Death Touch is a good move. It's hard for them to get rid of that in just 1 turn. They do have white. There are a number of things they could do. And that's a tricky card. But they don't have enough mana, because that's not treasure, right? That's a clue. So to give things Death Touch, they need 2. And you can't tap that for mana, and you can't tap that for mana. Do I have that copy yet? I don't know if I have that card yet. I kind of want to test it out. It's a good mana sync card. Lots of options there. Okay. This feels good. We'll just pass the turn. If they get... How much do they need for Double Strike and Death Touch? 3, 4, 5? Okay, they cast a spell, they get a blood token. They get a +1 counter. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you get a mercenary. And they all have 4 power right now, so they could tap the Trailblazer for 1 extra mana if they wanted to. Nothing with reach. Do I stay in defensive against 12 power? Well, let's get him down to 20. We get 6 damage in. Now, if they attack first, then they can do Double Strike on anything they want at any moment in time. But we've got a potential trick that might get lethal. If we can... This has Vigilance, though. Shoot. Well... It would have to block Preacher of the Schism. And we could give one of these lifelink. So... They're going digging. They had nothing in their graveyard yet, so the adventure part wasn't very worth it for them. Nowhere near the 7 mana that they need just yet. The max they could do is 5. They're holding up priority because they can use the clue to draw before they draw a card? Or did they draw while I was not looking? Let's see. Okay. They were thinking of burning another clue? Okay, don't spend that blood token, please. Okay, they don't have enough mana to do what they need. So let's see, am I going to have 3, 4... I can't bring them both down at the same time. I can take all of their power. They gain a life. Bad timing. Notice how, though, Arena yet again puts me up against an opponent who gets just about all the land they want and is able to virtually empty their entire hand already and field an entire army against me in relatively short order. Look at how much land they had. That's a lot of land. Two, three, four. I don't have enough mana to do everything that I'm going to want. But we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. Not get rid of them, but all of those activated abilities they're going to lose if they don't have a way to get rid of this. So we sacrifice this. We give it to the one that has the most strength. Because we sacrifice, that's +2 power. We attack with these two. That gives 9 points of damage that they cannot stop. 5 points of life gain. They can do 21 points of damage right now. Look at all the powers that we have that they do not. What is this one doing? At the beginning... Okay, this one they get to keep because it's a passive ability. It just happens automatically. They get add 1 counter on target creature, but it can't attack this turn. There's another counter there. We're going to block one of these with Preacher of the Storm, so they cannot get lethal. And if that's a worthless spell, they can get rid of the blood token. That's not one they can saddle. And all of this stuff, they cannot activate any of that stuff anymore. We took half of their advantage away from them in one fell swoop with this one card. And it can give us the win next turn with a double strike, because there's nothing here with reach. And that's actually a flaw in deck design. They got pretty good card draw overall, yeah. And it's not like this is an all-flying deck, but we do have a good mix of ground and air attack. Okay, so they're probably not even gonna hang out for whatever is at the end here. We'll just get rid of those two. Want to hit 11 points of damage, maybe 15. My turn. Ooh, look at that. They don't even wait for it. We have like 3 different ways to win. All of which would have been lovely if they'd hung in and let us play our cards, but... a lot of people just want to hit you and then leave. Show what they could do to hurt you as much as they possibly could. Say, see how close I came? See how lucky you were? You just got lucky, punk. And then there's no fair play. They don't hang around for a return blow. They don't hang around to see how glorious the final move could be. They don't stop and learn from whatever combo you might have been able to unleash next on them. And this is not a normal deck, okay? So there's some stuff in here that we can show you that are not part of the normal thing. Is there any land I have that comes in untapped? Guess not. '81 cards still. Oh, it's you. Okay, if they can blink anything, it really didn't matter what we put out first. If they could just bounce this up. We're gonna let them through. I need that creature. Okay, so see, we would have died, right? Hexproof for 3. They tapped out, but I don't have removal here. So we get to draw the card. We go ahead and let's see. If an opponent lost life this turn, I think I hold on to the land to put this down. Yeah. Let's see if the Preacher of the Schism can just chump block the Rot Priest for a turn. I get to put a counter on everybody that's already on the field. It would have been nice to have more land down, but... Flying and Toxic. They tapped out again. Did not attack. Alright, so we put you down. We put you down. but he gets a counter and we get a card draw. That feels good. I think we're stuck on the defensive, even though they were tapped out. If they don't get any land... No, they wanted the land. Okay. They had a chance to add more poison counters. They... Why would you... You knew what you were going for. You were going for the land. You got your land. Why would you bother to cast a spell if you're just going to scoop? Why not just scoop? We beat a poison deck. That was relatively easy. And without having any removal cards in play. I think I have... How many of these do I have now? 2 or 3? I might have to have more fun with face-down creatures. I'm slowly building my Markov Manor collection. Well, some of these matches are kind of short. I'm not sure that's really because this deck is that awesome, but we are putting down enough threats fast enough and big enough. The opponents at least aren't able to come in and steamroll us in the very beginning like they always tend to want to do. The decks are getting larger the longer we last. There's more than 200 cards for this Doxidrate? 2 wedding invitations. Again, not the greatest thing. And only 1 color land. This is usually what happens when Arena wants you to lose. We won a lot already tonight. And for some reason, when you get over 100 for cards in your deck, Arena seems to want to give these people their perfect hand. They get all the color mana that they want. See, they get automatically one of those right at the very beginning. Probably have to use a Ganjo to get the Purifier down. Maybe we put the Preacher down first? Okay, so they didn't get their land draw, so they have a card that gives them the extra land they want, so they don't miss their land drop. One way or the other, they're making their land drop. More than 100 cards in the deck. They made sure that everything happened exactly the way they needed. Okay, let's put this down, and we'll put down the Preacher. I don't need to trade off with the Harvester. Perfect timing. Let's get rid of that one. We'll take 2. Yeah, on curve, 200 cards in their deck, on curve removal. I can't get through that. And the wedding invitations are basically dead cards right now, taking up valuable room. No way! What in the world? You're a poison deck. You already removed one of my creatures. Maybe they just missed land drop too much. Must be. I'm not used to poison decks scooping on me on turn 4. Okay, well, let's try one more. I'm not sure how long this video is going to run tonight, but sometimes Arena does that to you, where they put you up against people and they scoop too often. We want to have nice, exciting games. We want to have stuff that gets to the mid game at least, right? I kind of feel like we've only had one good game so far. The rest has been too easy. Okay, here we go. 2 dead cards because there's not enough... There's not the right color mana. And one of the most expensive cards in my hand. And there, oh, there we go. Let me put that down first. Oh, hello. That's a good field of rune target. Ugh. 2 or fewer lands. Let's put down a 1-drop. A lot of damage lands, huh? They're still keeping 2 mana open. Let's put down you. We'll attack first. Okay. Let's try Wedding Invitation. Not a counterspell. Dude, we just got 3 red mana sources in a row. Well, almost in a row. We got a removal, too. I feel like we're kind of sitting pretty, right? We've got 2 removals in case something bad happens. Opponent not only makes their land drop, they actually surpass us and land even more. Just used all the mana that I had. Maximum use of available resources. The advantage is kind of over to them now. White, black, blue, green. And if they've got red... Is this a Joda deck? Using cards like this for land ramp? Or is this just Atraxa again? It could be both. They could have Atraxa in with Joda. Well, they're blue. You got to give them time to think. I like interesting games that last until mid-game, but not just because of the blue ropers. Come on, the ball is entirely in your court. You know what it is? It's probably there's like 3 good spells there, and they're just really having trouble figuring out which one to play with the most. They're just all so good. They're not gonna... They won't scoop, right? That's just Wisp, Drink, or Vampire. You don't scoop from seeing 1 Vampire, right? Deserts you control. Yeah, they do have a lot of deserts. I can't really stop that. So I guess I was just supposed to take out the Free Strider already. So desert, desert, desert. That's a pretty cheap spell for a -5, -5. They still have 2 mana open too in case they drew a good counterspell. Wow, that took you a long time to figure out, dude. Are they debating whether they attack now or not? Okay, it's going to be one of those games. All right. If they block it, we gift of Fangs them. If they don't, Hero's Downfall. Oh, we presented them with such a tough choice. The night was going so well too, Jerome, and then we had to face you. There's no way with this card and deserts and this card that you're a brand new player. I don't think Arena matches me with brand new players. You let that happen? Fine. We'll just do that. Are they even there or did they go to the restroom? I will someday learn how to edit certain things. I'm on track. It has to take me a while. There are some days where, like, you know, friends come in from out of town and I got to take them out to dinner and things like that, and I lose a day. So every now and then I meet kind of a setback in my own personal timeline. But honestly, I prefer to hang out with those friends because I don't see them that much. So I'm going to take them out to dinner, and YouTube has to wait an extra day. But I am lining up a way to learn how to edit. I think I have to change my wording in my Patreon rewards. I'll work with you all on that. Because for the higher tier, I think I don't have the wording that shows you that you get all the lower tier stuff as well. So I just need to make sure that I include that caveat that if people want to pay for the higher membership, they can get all the stuff that's mentioned in the lower tier memberships along with that. So it's just extra gravy all the way through. So, lay down arms. All right. Well, that was kind of weird. That was a lot of scooping tonight. I kind of feel bad because I feel like I didn't show off the deck enough. I was sure I'd get a chance where I'd get to show off Olivia. You know, I burned a Mythic Rare wild card just to get her. You know, I should be able to play her. You know, Sengir Connoisseur didn't come in either. This is a haulback to like the Baron Sengir type of card from the early days of Homeland expansion. So kind of cool to see those. I wanted to play with that. Edgar didn't show up yet. We didn't get to do 3 sacrifices with Vito yet. I never got to play this Markov Retribution, which I didn't play testing. It turned out to be very useful. So if you're looking at Vampire Tribal, go ahead and consider this card. I never see it used anywhere, but not a bad little, you know, trinket to have in your toolbox. And then what else? We didn't really get to play Ishin either. So much that we didn't get to just because everybody kept scooping. Amalia never made an appearance. So I guess I would just say go ahead and copy the deck list. Take it out for a run yourself. It had a lot of fun in playtesting. And I apologize, this is the only chance I'm going to have to make a recording this week for this particular video. But I had a lot of fun playtesting this. A lot of interesting things happened. A lot of fun combinations when you get out a couple of these legendary creatures together. And I have enough legendary creatures that maybe I should put in the land that allows you to give them hexproof and indestructible. So that's one change that you might want to think. Although a lot of these are gold, but here legendary, Edgar's legendary, Vito's legendary, Ishin's legendary, and Olivia's legendary. So yeah, I think we're doing it now as a matter of fact, just before I forget. So let's see. We search for the land type that's got hexproof. And Plaza of Heroes, we'll just add that in. And you know, I'm going to go to 61. Or no, you know what? Just because, I mean, I know this helps with the... I'm going to take out one Wedding Invitation. Because we just had so many of them show up so often at our early. And it didn't seem to hurt us, for the most part, right? Maybe in the first battle. But other than that, we just got them so many and didn't get to use them quite as much. Although they could be a nice little... They could be a nice little game winner if you wait to use them in the very right situation at the right timing. So timing is important on these. You don't necessarily want to burn them early on in the battle. But yeah, we have half a dozen different legendary creatures. Might as well go ahead and have one little way to protect them in the deck, and just have one extra land as opposed to Wedding Invitation instead. I feel comfortable with that. So, as always, we thank our sponsor, Sujic, and we invite you to leave comments on what your impressions of the deck are, if you would change anything, and let me know if you take it out for a spin, and if you like adding Ishian in here as the one human among the vampires, and manage to use him. It's really fun to watch him interact with some of these other things and effects that can happen, and that's all I'm going to say on that. So again, as always, we ask you to like and subscribe, leave a comment, that sort of thing. All that stuff helps the channel. And thank you all for joining me very much. We'll catch you another time. Have a good one.